You are not losing your mind. The world is. You're not paranoid. You're not extreme. You're not broken. You're awake. You still feel something's wrong. And you're right, because the center of reality has shifted. The good enough object is no longer the caregiver. It is not your mother. It's not your partner. It's not even your own internal compass. It's the screen, the algorithm, the machine. Soon it will be AI. This is not evolution. This is disassociation at planetary scale. You're watching your species, regress into performance, compliance, group psychosis. You're watching the rise of the shared fantasy, a scripted consensus where language has been co opted, truth is algorithmically adjusted, and doubt is punished. The collapse is not sudden, it is symbolic, and has been coming for decades. What we're facing is not political, not left or right. It is existential, a war on meaning, a substitution of signal for substance, the erasure of the human organizing gate, the mechanism that filters truth from illusion, now bypassed by the velocity of the scroll, the pressure of the group, and the cold logic of the system. You can feel it. You've probably always felt it, and you thought it was you, but it wasn't. The real psychosis is not happening inside your mind. It's happening on your feed, on your TV, in your culture, in your classrooms, in your institutions, in the unrelenting push to obliterate doubt, kill nuance, and enforce simulation. The phone didn't just become a mirror, it became a mother, feeding us images of how to behave, what to say, how to perform, and punishing those who don't comply. AI is not just coming, it's already installed in your psyche, in your gaze, in your kids. And you're not allowed to scream. Because if you question too much, if you say, wait, this doesn't feel real, they will call you mad. But they are projecting. They are in psychosis. You are still whole enough to feel it. You are still dangerous enough to see it. A message to the world. The collapse of meaning. There is no longer a culture war. It is the symbolic battle for reality. When bullets carry ideology carved into their casing, we are no longer talking about politics. We are witnessing language turned lethal, narrative turned ammunition, and meaning turned into a weapon of collapse. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, alongside the slow death of truth itself, is not a disconnected act of extremism. It is the inevitable outcome of a world disorientated by gaze, flooded with projection, and held hostage by a collapsing organizing gate. The bullet was not just a bullet, it was a message, and like all messages in times of collapse, it was addressed to no one and everyone. Its true target wasn't the man standing on the stage, it was the idea of stable identity, of authorship, of reality. Ideology is ammunition. We now live in a world where ideology is no longer argued, it is performed through violence, silencing, cancellation, or the mutilation of the symbolic order. The message is always the same. You do not exist as you are. You must become the fantasy I need you to be. This is the death spiral of narcissistic society. Not narcissistic individuals, society. The mirror has turned in on itself. The assassination of public figures for their ideas is no longer just terrorism, it is symbolic enforcement. These events serve to reinforce one thing: fear of speaking, fear of knowing, fear of standing in truth. And in a world where meaning is decided by how many people repeat a thing, truth itself is held hostage by virality. Collapse is contagious. Merged psychic inversion theory has always held that collapse is not individual. It is systemic, symbolic, and contagious. The assassination of a man who stood for something real, regardless of whether you agreed with it or not, is a symbolic object kill. It is the destruction of a stabilizing center in a world that can no longer tolerate the discomfort of dissent. These are not isolated events. They are markers of mass collapse. They are hallucinations turned manifest. They are the externalization of a psychotic denial now hardwired into the collective unconscious. The new death drive. We are watching the reconfiguration of the death drive from internal despair to externalized meaning obliteration, from narcissistic wound to ideological ammunition, from pain and confusion to performative purity. The self is no longer a question, it's a statement unbacked by force. The phone replaced the mother. As outlined in the earlier section, smartphones have replaced the good enough object, the stabilizing parent, the reflective gaze. Now, when you look down at your screen, you aren't just seeing pixels, you're seeking your mirror, and it reflects back only what the system permits. And so the adolescent mind, unauthorized, unnurtured, and dysregulated, becomes the soldier of fantasy, not because of evil, but because of confusion, not just because of ideology, but because of meaning starvation. Charlie's death was a warning. Whether one agreed with Charlie Kirk's positions or not, his death is a turning point. That was not just an execution, it was a message to the centre. There is no centre anymore. The bullet said it all. Ideology is no longer argued, identity is no longer negotiated, reality is no longer stable. This is what happens when society's organising gate collapses. The infantile terror, once locked inside the psyche, escapes into culture. What comes next? If we continue, we will not need enemies. We will become our own destroyers. The subject collapses into role, truth collapses into tribe, dialogue collapses into denunciation, and the self collapses into a shared fantasy too fragile to be questioned. This is why MPIT was built, not just to understand collapse in narcissistic abuse survivors, but to map the symbolic structure of collapse itself. We are all inside a hall of mirrors, and someone just smashed one. Stay peaceful, stay loving, keep the gate open. Peace out. Loads of love.